Hello, hello. Welcome. It is Saturday afternoon. My name is Angela, coming to you from St. Paul, Minnesota. On this channel, we practice front-end development, HTML, CSS, vanilla JavaScript. We are working on, let's get over here. And I already have someone. Hello, thank you. Nano Akia. Hello. Happy to have you. Hang on here 1 second because my screen is frozen. Where are we? There we go. Okay, that happens sometimes. Yes. All right. Welcome. Happy to have everybody here. Looking forward to our continued work on the Frontend Mentor product list with cart. I am starting a few minutes early today because it's just so rare that I am on time, let alone early. Oh, Monique is already here too. Hi, Monique. Yes, glad you had the notification on as well. I was just saying that usually I'm scrambling to be ready to go by 2 o'clock, which is insane because I'm just home all day twiddling my thumbs. But that's just how it seems to be how it works. And I was actually ready to go, and I was like, you know what? I'm just ready. I just want to start. So we can hang out and chat for a few minutes and see if other people join us. I'm really looking forward to continuing working on the product list with Cart from Frontend Mentor. We got so much JavaScript done last week. I think we have a little more JavaScript to work on today, like maybe 1 or 2 event listeners that we're going to add. Let's see, I'm going to go here. Maybe just like a few event listeners that we'll add. I'm thinking that we need to make sure that we have the empty cart versus the full cart sidebar showing. There's also, let's see here, right here, when something is selected, we need to have a border around our product item. So we can go ahead and take care of that with some CSS. We do need to get started working on this dialogue as well, which I don't think this will be that hard because we already have all the JavaScript in place for the sidebar. We should just be able to duplicate those efforts for the dialogue. I don't know if we're going to get to the dialogue today though. I'm actually thinking of waiting and saving that dialogue for tomorrow and then just honing in on everything else related to styling and the cart. And I'm hoping to have things wrapped up here between about 3 or 3:30 p.m. my time. So in about maybe like 60 to 90 minutes, right in there. Yeah, that's my goal for today. What is there anything else that I'm missing here? We've got the border when there's a product selected. We need to get the full product cart versus empty product cart sorted out. I think we can do that with an event listener. Is there anything that we need to do here on mobile? I don't think so. But we'll make sure. Let's see here. Here's a full mobile cart. I mean, the styles really aren't too different. Yes, I have my own time. Pulled out some books to refresh my memory during the week. Oh, like JavaScript books? Gosh, my favorite book, one of my favorite front-end books, I think I talked about this in one of my videos, but it's still on my shelf. I love it. It's called, hang on here, Murrock's yes, right here. I think this is one of the best front-end books that I have ever I have ever come across. It is so good. When I got this book, like the first night I got it, I sat down and read the first 100 pages in one sitting. This was actually a required textbook when I was in. So I have a master's degree in technical communication, I have a master's degree in software engineering. My master's degree in technical communication was very much focused on like writing for the web, rhetorical theory, information architecture, digital design, things like that. It was amazing. It was one of the most amazing higher education experiences that I've ever had. I also had to take a beginning web design class as part of the program. And at that point, I was maybe 18 months or so into my own journey as a web designer, and I started in WordPress. But I didn't know as much as I thought I knew. I really thought that I was a stellar front end developer, and the truth was is I was struggling a lot with HTML and CSS. This book was required reading, and also the instructor for this class, his name was John Simmer. He was amazing. He was amazing freelance web developer. He was a full stack engineer, really, but he was very good at front end as well. And this was the required reading, and we had to do the exercises in this book. And this book is what really like sealed the deal for me in doing front end. It did such a great job explaining layouts. Like I remember there was a section on doing navigation and the difference between display inline block, and display block, and just like setting up your navigation and doing the layout with an unordered list. And it was phenomenal. It was such a good experience to take that class, which I really did not want to take that class, but I got into it and I was like, oh, I actually have a lot to learn. And this book was very impactful. So if you're a front-end developer and you're struggling and you need and if you're a good self-learner and you do well, and not everybody learns with like a textbook experience. I do well with textbooks. That is a good way for me to learn. If you know that you're that type of learner, you might want to check out this book. It's really fantastic. And Monique is agreeing with me that she also thinks this is a great book. Really stellar. So yeah, I'm always excited when I can tell people about this book. And quite frankly, Monique, I think it's exciting to find another person who likes this book as much as I do, because I've been telling people about this book for years, and you might be the first person who's like, yes, I know this book. It's as good as you say it is. So that's exciting. I'm glad to find another person who enjoys it. Yeah, so let's get started. I really want to sort out what's going on here with this sidebar. So let's change our view here. There we go. Okay, so last week I know that I was like, oh, I'm going to not have this empty sidebar rely on an event listener, and I'm going to make it so we've got this here it is. We've got full cart and we've got empty cart. And I was thinking that the full cart markup would all be handled by JavaScript, and that's not what happened. We actually ended up keeping quite a bit of this as a static part of the DOM, and we filled in the order amount. This is the cart container where that actual list array of items goes, and then here's the cart count. And these things are being filled in with JavaScript, but this SVG, these other things live in the DOM, and I'm absolutely happy with it being like this. I was just trying last week to reduce the number of event listeners, but I have my head wrapped around that a little bit more. So this is my extremely long-winded way of saying that my CSS for full cart and sibling selector empty cart isn't going to work anymore, which is totally fine. We're going to go ahead and put an event listener on empty cart. Let me think about this here. So empty cart would be, so here's the thing. So it would be full cart plus empty cart dot active. I mean, I would be fine with that. So, well, wait a second here, but how do I know what full cart is? I mean, I guess I could check to see if cart contain, yeah, but you can't really go backwards. So we might have to do active full cart, active empty cart. And I think that's fine. So let's see if we can get that figured out. So first I'm going to, let me remove the sibling selector that I did last week. Full cart, empty cart right here. This is what I did. So I'm just going to take this out. You don't like that. I'll do this. So let's go ahead and do that. And there it is. Okay. And then in our JavaScript, so here's our add to cart. Here's our toggle button. So I think that if we're toggling an item, then we want to full cart. Do I have full cart defined here someplace? I don't think so. Cart button, cart plus minus, grid wrap. Grid wrap is the grid, so I might have to put it here on the grid item. Oh, does it matter? It kind of does. Well, the grid item. Cart container, cart sidebar. I mean, I think I can define anything I want up here. Yeah. Yes. So Monique is saying, can you explain full cart and empty cart again? I think I missed something. Okay. So let me, let's see here. So here is the empty cart, is a different view. Oh, and I just noticed it also has this as well. It does have this header. So if the cart is empty, we have this SVG and it says your added items will appear here. And then as soon as something gets added, it changes to this. So the header remains the same, but we have this, I think I called this cart container, which this is basically our array of items, our order total. This is a carbon neutral delivery, and then a button. And then when you click the button, that's when you get this modal dialog. So I have these in two separate containers, empty cart and full cart. Maybe, you know what though, but maybe I just need to simplify my markup. Maybe I just need to simplify my markup, and maybe I mean, so here's the cart container. See, the reason I did it this way is because I thought the full cart would just be so much easier to hide because it has all this extra stuff. This header needs to be outside of full cart though, because I just noticed that that is there no matter what. So that goes there. I just thought that it would be easier to hide this markup if there wasn't anything inside the cart container. So I was going to do an event listener for active full cart, active, empty cart. So I still, can I avoid having to do an event listener on active cart, empty cart, excuse me? So if there's, okay, so let's say hypothetically that we do an event listener that is only active here when there are items inside the cart container. Or I wonder if we could just do, see, it makes me think that all I have to do is check and see if there's anything inside the cart container. So if it's like full cart, but see, it doesn't, it only, CSS only works one way. So I can't check for a grandchild or child element and then style the parent element based on the, well, can I? I mean, if it exists, yeah, no, you don't style a parent element based on whether a child element exists. That's the problem. So I can check to see if there's an item, but it's not going to have any impact on whether or not the parent or the grandparent can be styled. That's why when you have a sibling selector, you're only styling the sibling, the second thing, not the original thing. So that's why when we toggle, I want to add an active class to full cart. And then if we have full cart dot active plus empty cart, then this would work. This would work. Full cart dot active plus empty cart. This would work. This would all work, just like this. And then if it was full cart display, this would be full cart display none, full cart active display block. So full cart by default is display none because on page load you have an empty cart. But if the cart is active, then full cart is display block. Empty cart by default is display block because on page load you have an empty cart. If the cart is full and active, plus you have the empty cart is display none. So this logic makes sense to me. So let's add this as a note. So full cart is hidden on page load because the cart is empty. So might be worth researching has and is. They're really powerful. Learned about them in the last couple of weeks. Okay. Oh yeah. And you know what else that's making me think of? Focus within. It's a little different. It's a little different, right? Focus within. But it's in the same family. Okay. Let me make these, I'm going to make these notes really quick and then let's head over to MDN and look at those. Okay, good. And Monique is saying that it's clear now. It can be muddy sometimes. It can be a little muddy sometimes. Oh, hang on. There we go. Okay. Full cart. Okay. So full cart is hidden on page load because the cart is empty. Full cart is displayed when the cart is active and has items. empty cart is displayed on page load because the cart is empty. When the cart is full and active, the empty cart is not displayed. Okay. Let's see here. MDN CSS has. Okay, here we go. Okay. The functional has CSS pseudo class represents an element if any of the relative selectors that are passed as an argument match at least one element when anchored against this element. This pseudo class presents a way of selecting a parent element or a previous sibling element with respect to a reference element by taking a relative selector list as an argument. Reads a little like stereo instructions, but we've got examples. So, selects an H1 heading with a paragraph element that immediately follows the H1 and applies the style to H1. Whoa. So H1 has a sibling paragraph. So how deep can you get with a has? Okay, the has pseudo class takes on the specificity of the most specific selector in its arguments the same way as is and not do. If the has pseudo class itself is not supported in the browser, the entire selector, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the has pseudo class cannot be nested within another has. Totally fair. This is because many pseudo elements exist conditionally based on the styling. Okay. Pseudo elements are also not valid selectors within has. Okay, so no like before or after. I can handle that. With the sibling combinator, the has style declaration in the following example adjusts the spacing after the H1 headings if they are immediately followed by an H2 heading. Okay, so let's so they're using children, or they're using siblings. They're using siblings as examples. So let's just use good old-fashioned, I think in my case it would be a grandchild. It would be a grandchild. So full cart has cart container, and then what's the markup for cart, what is it here? Cart item. Oh, here it's article. Well, article, cart item, class list. Yeah, cart item. So it would be full cart has what do we say here? Cart container, cart item has container, only needs to be one. And then it would be the same here. Oh, wow. Wouldn't that be cool if that worked? Thank you for telling me about that. Okay. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay. Oh my gosh, we did it! You guys! We make such a good team. Look at that. I love it. We did it. No JavaScript required. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See, this is why I do this. I love this. Look at that. So simple, so elegant. Yes, Monique, it is awesome. Nano Akia, thank you so much. You guys are the best. I love you so much. You have no idea. Okay, so we are going to do the same thing because we need to add a border. And I think that this is going to work pretty much exactly the same way because this button is going to get, let's see here. Right? I mean, I feel like, I've definitely heard of is or has, and so thank you for pointing me in that direction and telling me to like explore that a little further because I think I've been so used to the fact that for, the 10 plus years that I've been doing something, I've been doing HTML and CSS. I have gotten so used to the fact that CSS just has limitations. So, yeah, CSS is getting so much more powerful. And hello, Janakumo Emmanuel. I know you told me it was close enough last time. I'm so sorry if I continue to pronounce your name wrong. Yeah, we are having an amazing day so far. We are having an amazing day so far. So, all right. So I think so this button here, ooh, it says cart button active. I shouldn't say active. Why does that button say active? Oh, duh, Angela, it's active because it's the button that's showing. Okay. So, this is the button right here, cart plus minus. When this button is active, then we need our article, well, we need our figure to have a border. So that's actually a sibling selector. We can, well, no, because again, it's going to be has. It's going to be image container has sibling selector cart plus minus active, and then we can give this a border. I know that we can. We're going to have to add a little CSS to this. We don't want to put a border on here on click. It's going to make everything kind of jumpy. So we're going to go ahead and put a transparent border on things. So when our CSS triggers the actual red border, that will be in effect. And then we also need to make sure that our plus and minus buttons have a hover state and the proper pointer. Because right now, this button, well, this right here has a pointer. And we only want, yeah, so we should take this off of here to make sure. And then, so we want the pointer off of this div, but we want to make sure there is a pointer on these SVG buttons right here. So I just finished this particular challenge today, and I have to say you played a role in it. Thank you. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I appreciate that. That is, to me, like the highest compliment. You could use a box shadow with 0 blur, which would not affect layout. Oh, that's certainly true. Yeah, because I would probably have to adjust some of my margins to add that 1 pixel or 2 pixel border, wouldn't I? Okay, yeah, we can definitely go ahead and do that. But back to this comment quickly. If you're interested in letting the rest of us see it, if you want to like send me a link or send me your GitHub, I'd be happy to look at it. We could look at it. Of course, if you're not comfortable, we absolutely don't have to do that. But congratulations on finishing, and thank you for that compliment. I appreciate that so much. Okay, so let's go ahead and yeah, we'll go ahead and do, let me see here. What did we say? Use a box shadow with a zero blur, which would not affect layout. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to put that on the figure image container. Let's see, probably think it's up here. So we'll go ahead and do box shadow and hang on, it's XY, hang on, I have to remember, it's XY spread blur. Is that what it is? I think it's XY spread and then blur, or blur and then spread. Hang on. Blur and then spread. And you said zero blur. So we would do, so I think we would do 2 pixels, 2 pixels, 0, 2 pixels, and then red. So we'll do 2 pixels, 2 pixels, 0, 2 pixels, and then we'll do red. Okay, so we need it, let's see here. Okay, so I realize that this is not quite right, so we're gonna tinker with this. So I probably need to do XY like negative, hang on, 0, 0, 0, 2 pixels. Oh yeah, got it, because we don't need an offset. I would have gotten there eventually. There we go. Look at that. Okay. So, and we actually want this to be transparent. I would have gotten there eventually. It's like coding with your friends. I love it. Okay. So now we need to do image container has no. No apology necessary. No apology necessary. I am having a blast. Trust me. I love it. I love it. Okay, let's see here. So we have image container plus, I'm just going to take this whole thing when this is active. Yeah, I'm loving this has. Let's go take a peek. Oh, let's see here. Okay, image container. Oh, I didn't put in the plus. We need the sibling selector. We should go look at is on MDN just for the heck of it. Okay, wait a second here. Image container has cart plus minus. Did I spell something wrong? Where is... So when H1 has image container has, is there, seems like it's okay to have a space there. Cart plus minus active. Is this like too... Does it not like this selector? Oh, it's not really a sibling. Hang on, we need to do like probably this. Yeah, so it's like anything. All right, look at that. We just need to make sure now that it's got the rounded corners. Oh yeah. So we need to make sure then that our rounded corners are actually on this figure, not on the image. So where's our border radius? I'll actually take that and put that here. And we're gonna have to say like overflow hidden, I think. There we go. Nice. Yeah, then we don't have to monkey with our layout. Because adding borders, I mean, I would have been fine doing that, but adding borders, it does kind of mess with the layout. You have to like calculate the pixels, and it's not the end of the world, but clearly this is easier. Yeah, look, wow. What, I mean, holy cow. We're killing it. Okay, let's work on our buttons. Let's work on our buttons. Actually, I kind of want to go to MDN and look at the is. Oh, look at all these. Okay, how many of these do I actually know? Active, yes. Any link, autofill, blank, buffering, I know checked. First child, first of type, focus, focus within. Agreed, very clean. Anytime you can, I mean, I feel pretty strongly that if I can use CSS to do something, I absolutely will use CSS to do it. Host context. Hover, yes, of course. In range, intermediate, invalid, is, lang. I know last child, there's a lot here, wow. Not, I've used not before. Nth child, nth last child, nth last of type, nth of type, only child, only of type. I've used all of those. Optional, out of range, past, paused, picture in picture. Wow. I feel like I need to, I've done target before. I've done visited. Oh, there's a lot here. I feel like I have a little light reading to do this week. Okay, let's look at is. Okay. The is pseudoclass function takes a selector list as its argument and selects any element that can be selected by one of the selectors in that list. This is useful for writing large selectors in a more compact form. Originally named matches and any, this selector was renamed to is. Okay. Okay, so we have an ordered list style type upper alpha, color dark blue. And then is ordered list, unordered list, menu, unsupported, is ordered color green. Oh. Is ordered list, unordered list. Is ordered. So this must be the depth. Yeah, because it's, here are the Greek letters, 3 letters in. Interesting. The is pseudo class requires a selector list, a comma separated list of one or more selectors as its argument. The list must not contain a pseudo element, but any other simple, compound, and complex selectors are allowed. The difference between is and where. The difference between the two is that is counts towards the specificity of the overall selector. It takes the specificity of its most specific argument, whereas where has a specificity value of 0. This is demonstrated by the example on the where reference page. Okay. All right, so this looks pretty focused on like lists, which is really helpful. I mean, I've been in a few situations with very specific styling for different types of lists based on the type of module that it's a part of. So I could see this being incredibly useful in where I currently work, because we deal with a lot of list stylings. Well, I just have found myself in a situation where we just have these very specific styles for lists in these different types of modules in this content management system that we work in. So I could see this just being really, really helpful. But I'm thrilled with has. I'm absolutely thrilled with has. So thank you again for telling me about that. Let's see here. Here's the has. And, okay, what's the next thing? Oh, our buttons. So I think our buttons will be a pretty easy fixed. So it's the, let's see here. No, I think it's actually, no, it isn't. It's in our JavaScript. It's here. So it's the cart plus minus, I think, is kind of styled like a button. That's why it's doing that. So we want to take out cursor pointer from here, and we're going to do cart plus minus button. I'm just going to say button, and then do the pointer. So we add to cart, and now this doesn't have a pointer, but this does have a pointer. But this also needs a hover. You mentioned specificity. We have a new at rule at layer, which can help define layers in the cascade. Let's check that out. Okay, the CSS at rule is used to declare a cascade layer and can also be used to define the order of precedence in case of multiple cascade layers. At layer module state. Wow. See, how would I know about these things? Do you ever say this to yourself? You're like, oh, how would I know about this if somebody didn't tell me? Thank you for pointing these things out to me. Yeah, I absolutely need to sit and do some reading on this. I'm so grateful that you're willing to share some of this information with me because clearly I have not come across this. Okay, rules within. Yeah, every time. Every time. Okay, so rules within a cascade layer cascade together, giving more control over the cascade to web developers. Styles that are not defined in a layer always override styles declared in named and anonymous layers. The following diagram shows layer priorities where layers are declared in 1, 2, and order. Okay, so highest priority. Um, As noted in the above diagram, important declarations, declarations with the important flag have priority over normal declarations or regular declarations without the important flag, which I hate using. Rarely it comes up, but I do have to use it once in a while. Hardly ever, but once in a while. The order of precedence among important rules is the inverse of normal rules. Transitions have the greatest precedence. Next in order of highest to lowest priority are the important user agent declarations, important user declarations, and important author declarations in that order. Users can specify styles using browser preferences, operating system preferences, or browser extensions. Okay, yes, their important declarations take precedence over author or web developer written important declarations. Okay. Within author styles, all important declarations within CSS layers take precedent over any important declarations declared outside of a layer, while all normal declarations within CSS layers have a lower priority than declarations declared outside of a layer. The declaration order matters. The first declared layer gets the lowest priority and the last declared layer gets the highest priority. However, the priority is reversed when the important flag is used. The layer at rule is used to create a cascade layer in one of three ways. The first way is to use a at layer block at rule to create a named cascade layer with the CSS rules for that layer inside, like so. Okay. The second way is to use a at layer statement at rule to create one or more comma separated named cascade layers without assigning any styles. This can be a single layer as shown below. Okay. Okay. So you can create layers as utilities. Okay, I got it. Okay. Multiple layers can be defined at once as shown. Layer, theme, layout, utilities. This is useful because the initial order in which layers are declared indicates which layer has precedence. As with declarations, the last layer to be listed will win if declarations are found in multiple layers. Therefore, with the preceding example, if a competing rule was found in theme and utilities, the one in utilities would win and be applied. A rule in utilities would be applied even if it has lower specificity than the rule in theme. This is because once the layer order has been established, specificity and order of appearance are ignored. This enables using simpler CSS selectors because you do not have to ensure that a selector will have high enough specificity to override competing rules. All you need to ensure is that it appears in a later layer. So I'm just curious, Nano Akia, how often do you use this? Do you add these layers? Just out of curiosity, because I could see I could see situations where I would do this. I also, I'm also very comfortable with with my specificity, but I also acknowledge that specificity can get complex. It can be so specific that it gets pretty complex pretty easily. So you just learned of it a few days ago. Well, I would be curious once you start using it in your work. I would be curious how it goes, or if you, what's the word I'm thinking of? If you come up with like a good method or almost like a style guide for yourself and how you apply layers. I would be curious. And I'm going to do a little outside research on this myself. I would love to see some YouTube videos of people really using this or setting up their style sheets so I can get like I understand what I just read here, but as good as the documentation is for MDN, it feels like stereo instructions sometimes, right? I would really love to see somebody setting up a project and implementing layers, coming up with a plan for how they're using them to better understand them. That's going to help me get a better idea of how I could use them. But I think this is really interesting, and I definitely want to learn more about this. So thank you for letting me know about this. And maybe I'll have something else to report back next weekend after I have a chance to learn a little bit more, just out of curiosity. Let's do this. CSS at layer. Okay, so Kevin Powell did a video 2 years with layers. CSS Cascade Layers Tutorial 1. This is a year old. Net Ninja. CSS Cascade Layers, an overview of the new at layer and layer CSS primitives. CSS layers are changing how... Web Dev Simplified. I really like his content. Una is good. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna watch some of these. Definitely gonna... Yeah, I'm gonna watch some of these and learn more about this. Nice. I like this. Okay. Back to it. Back to it. What was I doing? Let's see. Oh, the buttons. Okay, so we have a pointer now on our buttons, but we need a hover state for those buttons. So the class for these buttons is actually, it's more or less. So I'm going to use the proper class name. And then we'll go ahead and write, so we'll do hover active. I am going to do focus, but I'm not going to change outline. So it should still get its blue outline on focus. Una is good. I don't think so. Did you put it in the chat? Did my 3 people I follow message come through? I don't think so. You know what? It's possible, depending on what you put in the chat. I have my chat pretty locked down because in my early days, I learned the hard way that I had to like put some measures in place. So if you put in a keyword that's on my block list, it might not have come through. So I apologize for that. If you want to, hang on, if you're comfortable doing this, if you want to send it to me on Instagram, like DM me on Instagram, you can. You can also send it to my email if you want to. Totally up to you. I would for sure be interested in knowing about the people that you follow. Yeah, it might have been blocked. Sorry about that. Oh, there we go. So Leah Veru, who I've heard of, Jen Simmons, and Rachel Andrew. Let's I've heard that name before. Leah Veru. Let's see here. Does she have her own channel? I will I will definitely I will definitely follow these folks. Jen Simmons. Yeah, I'll subscribe. And Rachel Andrew. Ah, perfect. Love it. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Good plan. I'll go do that too. I'll do that this afternoon. So, and I'm gonna check out their channels also. Love it. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, so let's make sure that we have styles for our hover active focus. I used to not do focus styles and just let the focus be the blue browser outline, but I've gone back to, after having some conversations with our accessibility specialists where at the organization I work on my web team, I do focus styles. I started redoing focus styles again, but I just make sure that I don't change the blue outline. So the focus continues to get whatever the hover and the active are in addition to the blue outline. So that's my disclaimer, is that I just don't change the outline when I implement focus styles. So let's also make sure that we have a transition. So I'm just going to do transition all, 300 milliseconds, ease in, out. And then we're going to change the background color. Yeah, we're going to change the background color and the fill of the SVG. So the background color right now is red. Background color, white. Oh, whoops. And then more or less, I'm going to take this, move it down. I'm going to move this down here. This is going to be white. Let's make sure this works. We don't have a transition. Transition isn't working. Oh, it's on the div. Okay. Should be here. SVG. Probably don't need this. And we don't need two of these. Okay, so here's our button, here's our SVG, here's our hover, and I think we're going to need to do the same thing here. I know you can nest in CSS, but it just feels so strange to me to do that. So there's our transition is working now, and let's make sure that our outlines are still working. Okay. And then I think we can just do, okay, well, and it would just be fill. Yeah, I don't think this type of, maybe you don't need the and. Oh, you know, it's not a class, that's why. There we go. Does work. So the button stays, once you click it, it stays active. That's weird. But I feel like I've run into that before too. So, I mean, is that a real, am I imagining this? Is this a real problem? Okay, so I noticed when I click a button and use CSS for the, well, it's active, right? Is it because I put an active? So if I take, the button is still active until you literally click away, is that why? So if we just do hover and focus, is it because it still has focus, the button still has focus? Is that why? So it seems good to me as it lets you know that the last action you took was to increase or decrease. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I just wish I understood better. But I honestly think it's just because, oh, yeah, it's because it has focus still. So, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT about this. Does a button element continue to have focus after it is clicked? No, that's the wrong question. I noticed the button element continues to have focus after it is clicked until I click away from it. Is this the correct behavior? Is this the correct behavior? Yes. Okay, so this is the correct behavior for a button element in HTML. By default, when you click a button, it receives focus, and it keeps that focus until something else on the page is clicked or the focus is programmatically removed. This behavior is particularly useful for accessibility as it allows users navigating with a keyboard to know where they are on the page. No, I don't find it undesirable at all. I just wanted to understand my own observation. So I'm good with this. If this is default behavior, thumbs up. And I agree. I think it's good. So I'm going to put my focus style back in here. And let's tab. I'm going to focus one more time. I love it. This is working really well. Wow, so what else do we need to do? So I think the final thing that we need to do is the dialogue. And I think I'm gonna call it. This is exactly what I wanted to get done today. Exactly what I wanted to get done today. So I think that I'm gonna call it a day here, and tomorrow we will do this dialogue. This will be our focus. Our focus for tomorrow will be the dialogue. And I don't think. Gosh, we didn't have to write any JavaScript today, which makes me so happy. I only needed ChatGPT to confirm one observation, and we got a ton of new information from reading documentation on MDN, which I love. I think it is. I know junior developers who have a really difficult time reading documentation, and I'm not saying that it's easy. But if you can get used to it, if you can train yourself, you will be better positioned if you can get comfortable reading documentation. So that always makes me happy when I can learn more from reading documentation. And yeah, we'll work on this dialogue tomorrow. So much of this is already done. We just have to grab what's already in that cart and put it in the dialogue. And we did a dialogue a few weeks ago. We already did this. So we know what to do. We already understand the HTML and the CMS to implement a dialogue. So, and Monique is thanking me. Fabulous session today. Thanks very much. And thank you for being here. I can't say enough how much I enjoy having folks come and join me and do this with me. We all learn from each other, and that's the point, right? That is the point. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and commit and deploy which I don't do often enough. Let's see here. Styles for the items and the sidebar. All right, and I have Heroku pulled up here. I'll refresh. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, I think this was so much fun. This was so much fun to build. So, let's see here. Yeah, if anybody been a good evening, have a good afternoon. Thank you, you too. Yeah, I hope everybody is having a great day wherever they are. We're having amazing weather right now in St. Paul. It's like kind of cool, but like perfect fall day, dry, crisp, cool, but not really super cold. So I hope everybody's having good weather and having a good time. I think I do need to style this a little bit. That's fine. We're gonna go ahead and do it tomorrow. Everything's looking great. Everything is looking amazing. So thank you for joining me. Loved having you here. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all here tomorrow if you're able to join me. Have a great one, guys. Bye-bye.